Hello, and welcome to Practice with Valid Studios. My name is Val, and I'll be guiding us through today's practice. With me today, I have the lovely David, who will be demoing for us. We'll be flowing through some moon salutations, so you may find it handy to have a couple of blocks or yoga props close by towards the top of your mat, just intending to give a little bit more reach if the floor feels a little too far for you today. That being said, let's begin seated comfortably on the mat, whether that means directly on the mat or maybe sitting up on a prop to add to your comfort. And we'll begin by tuning in to the natural rhythm of breath. So maybe closing down the eyes or picking a single point to focus on. Take the first few breaths of practice, intending to listen to what arises to surface. From this space of observation over breath and body, listen to what's happening in the mind and in the heart, and settle on an intention for yourself, choosing a single word, a sentence, or affirmation, then repeating it over a few times. Slowly begin to expand the breath so that each breath is just a little bit longer, wider, and deeper than the previous one. See if you can add a little bit of space between the inhales and exhales, and between the exhales and your inhales, a little pause between the phases of the breath. We'll practice our box breath or ratio 4 breath today. I'll guide us through the first few rounds and then drop off my instruction, allowing you to continue at your own pace. In which case, if you'd like to increase the count to 5, 6, 7, or maybe even 8, feel free to. Just make sure to keep all phases of the breath equal in count. So we'll begin by inhaling for the count of 4, pausing and suspending the breath at the top of the inhale for a count of 4, exhaling for a count of 4, pause and suspend the breath again for a count of 4, and then we'll continue over and over a few rounds. Now, a couple contraindications: if you have any unmanaged blood pressure issues, whether that be high or low blood pressure, or there's any chance that you may be pregnant, I'm going to ask that you not restrain and hold the breath and just inhale and exhale fluidly for the same count. So go ahead, take another nice big breath in. Let it go. And inhaling for the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue either with the count of 4, or you can increase to a count of 5. Next round, perhaps 6. Two more cycles. Last round. Completing the cycle that you're on. At the end of your pause, next time you inhale, release control of the count. See if it's available to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. We'll add movement into the physical body. When you're ready, allow the head to bow softly to the heart, rocking the head side to side, gently waking up the cervical spine. After a breath or two, allow the head to recenter. You can keep your eyes closed if you'd like, of course. Next inhale, settle your gaze forward. Start to roll the shoulders up, back and down a few times. Eventually allowing the shoulders to settle down and away from the ears. Sitting up nice and tall, relax your thighs. As you inhale, allow your arms to reach overhead. Palms meet above the head. Exhale, turn your hands down, lowering your arms all the way down. Inhale, arms reach overhead, lengthen and reach up. Spreading arms wide, exhale, lower your hands to the floor. One more time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release your hands down to the floor. Next breath, cross your left hand over to your right knee. Lift your right arm up to the sky, drawing a big circle as you turn your heart to the right, lowering your hand gently beside or behind you. A seated twist. Lift tall through the crown of the head. Relax your jaw and shoulders, looking back. Inhale. Exhale, unwind the heart to center. Crossing right hand over to left knee, left arm reaches up, opening the heart towards the left side of the room. Let your left hand lower beside or behind you, lifting up tall through the crown and spine. Relax jaw and shoulders, looking back. Inhale and exhale, unwind, bringing the heart to center. Inhale, lift your arms overhead. Make a few movements with your hands, maybe circles with the wrists, open and close fists a few times. Spread fingers wide. And then allow the hands to rain down in front of you, transitioning your weight, shifting forward and sending your knees behind you, coming into tabletop. With the hands underneath the shoulders, knees under the hips. From your tabletop, let's move immediately through a few cat-cows. Soften the belly, open the heart forward, tail curls up. Exhale, round away from the earth. Really lift. Inhale, soften, coming forward. Exhale, round away. Really lift and tuck in, chin, navel, and tail. One more time. Forward into the cow. Exhale, rounding away into the cat. Inhale, recover to a flat back, tucking your toes onto the mat, setting up for downward facing dog. Lift your hips up and back when you're ready. Take a moment here, walk it out, bend into the knees, one at a time or both at the same time. Head and neck soft between the arms. Take another full breath, settling into stillness at the end of your exhale. Bend the knees, look forward, and walk, hop, or step your feet to the top of your mat behind your hands. Folding in half as you arrive at the top, a nice generous bend in the knees. Let the upper body sway and dangle in your ragdoll here. Allow the head and heart to center over the feet and very slowly uncurl your way up to a standing pose, finding mountain. Head and neck last thing to come up. When you do arrive at the top, take the time to roll the shoulders up and back and down a few times. Palms shining forward, straight line from crown to tail. Feel rooted and grounded through the soles of the feet. Inhaling, lift your arms overhead. Keep lifting up, squeeze the glutes, standing back bend. Realign the spine, straightening and lengthening up. Exhale, forward fold from the hips. Let the heart lead. Bend the knees as much as you'd like. Come up halfway, inhale. Exhale, fold over both of your legs. Bend the knees so the tail points up, crown down. Bend the knees, lift from the back of the head and heart, arms wide, reach and look up. Exhale, standing back bend. Realign and straighten. Fold forward, let your heart lead. Rise part way as you inhale, folding over both legs. Enjoy a full breath here. In through the nose, out through the mouth, with a little pause between the phases of the breath if that feels right. Inhale, rise, reaching and looking up. Exhale, lower the hands beside you. We're going to come into our first moon salutation. For the instructions to make as much sense as possible, let's all stand at the top of our mat and then turn to the right so that we've got a nice big space over towards the right side of the mat and your left foot lines up with the top of your mat. Feet about hip width apart or together if you prefer. And you're welcome to have a block or two at the top and at the bottom of your mat. As we travel through our moon salutations, you may like to have a little extra support. Inhale, bring your arms overhead. Place the hands above the head in prayer pose. Reach up tall, hips and heart stay forward facing. Let's crescent moon over towards the right. Start to lean over towards the right. Keep as much length from crown to tail as you can. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, crescent moon and lean over to the left. Back to center, inhale. Exhale, step your right foot out wide, lower your arms parallel to the floor for star pose. This should be active, press through the feet, reach fingertips away, crown lifting up. Pivot your front toes, your left foot to face the front of the mat. Option if you'd like to shift your hips over towards the right if that feels nice on your hips. Keep both sides of your torso nice and long and start to reach over towards the left side of the room. Lowering your left hand, right arm up, triangle pose. Take a full breath here. Lowering the right hand to meet the left, step your right foot onto a separate track. As best you can, 10 toes point forward. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Maybe place your hands on your hips, on blocks, or all the way down onto the floor. And if there's space, you're welcome to round over that front leg. You can absolutely have a bend in the front knee. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. After a full breath in pyramid, slowly uncurl the spine if you've rounded forward, finding that flat back. Step your back foot a little further back and lower your hands down to the floor, coming into a low lunge. Settle your back knee, your right knee down onto the mat. Let your pelvis sink ever so slightly forward and down. Then pressing into the left foot, lift your upper body, arms overhead. Take a full breath here. Lower the hands all the way back down to the floor. Tuck your back toes, lifting the knee off the mat, and then pivot your toes and heart to face the long side of the mat, coming into a side lunge. Left knee is bent, right leg is long. Press your right foot down into the mat. See if you can feel a little engagement through the inner right thigh. Slowly take the bend out of the left knee and start to walk your hands and heart to center, finding both legs wide here. Exhale, hinge from the hips, folding over both legs wide. Inhale, come up part way. Exhale, fold over the legs. Take a full breath here. Inhale, rise part way. Taking it to side lunge on the right, walk your hands and heart over to the right, bending into the right knee. Press the left foot down. We'll pivot our toes and hearts to face the back of the mat, coming into our low lunge. Left leg long behind us, right knee bent forward. Soften the left knee down. Soften the top of the foot if you'd like. Press into the right foot, lift your upper body, arms overhead. Take a breath here. Lowering your hands down to the floor, tuck your back left toes, lift your knee. Step your foot a little bit closer as you take the bend out of your front leg, or maybe a little micro bend stays. Lift your upper body, hands to the hips, blocks or the floor to find that flat back for pyramid. Option, if there's space, to round over the right leg. Take a full breath in your pyramid, whatever variation you're working with. Tricky transition into our triangle. Uncurl the spine, finding a flat back first. Bringing your right hand to the inside of your right foot and leg. Let your left foot open parallel to the top of your mat. Setting up for triangle. Start to open the left arm up towards the sky, finding your triangle pose. Remember that the right hand doesn't have to stay on the floor. It can hover or use a block. Pressing into both feet equally, inhale, rise all the way up, pivoting your right foot as you arrive at the top so your feet are parallel, arms parallel to the floor, star pose. Step your left foot next to the right, arms overhead, inhale. Exhale, lower the hands beside you, mountain pose. Opposite direction now, arms overhead, inhale. Exhale, crescent moon over to the left, lean left, make sure to keep length through the spine. Realign, straightening at center. Exhale, lean to the right, hips and heart stay forward facing. Back up to center, inhale. Exhale, step your left foot out wide, coming into star pose once more. Right toes will then pivot to face the bottom of our mat. Maybe you'd like to shift your hips over to the left. Both sides of your torso stay long as you reach towards the right. Windmilling right hand down, left arm up for triangle. Left hand lowers to meet the right. Step your left foot onto a separate track, pointing all 10 toes in the same direction. Find your flat back, maybe hands to hips, blocks or the floor. Option to round over the right leg. Remember that it's okay to have a bend in that knee, or if it's comfortable, the leg can be straight. Inhale, uncurl the spine, finding a flat back if it applies to you. Hands to the floor, step your left foot a little further back, coming into that low lunge. Settle the knee down, take a moment, and when you're ready, press into the right foot, lift your upper body, arms overhead. Option to stay here, or if you'd like, take a back bend, a full breath. If you chose to back bend, realign the spine and lower the hands down to the floor as you exhale. Tuck your back toes and lift your left knee off the mat. Pivot your toes and heart to face the long side of the mat, coming into side lunge. Left knee unbent, leg long, right knee bent. Option, if you'd like, to pivot and turn your big left toe to point up towards the ceiling if it's available for you today. If you pointed your big left toe up, allow the sole of the foot to return to the mat. Slowly take the bend out of the right knee, walking your hands to center over both legs wide. Inhale, lengthen the spine from crown to tail. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips. Pulsing, inhale, come up halfway. Full breath, exhale, fold over both legs wide. Inhale, come up part way. Side lunge to the left, walk your hands and heart into the left side of the mat as you bend into the knee. Option to curl and pivot right toe up towards the sky. If you opted to bring your big toe up, allow the sole of the foot to return to the mat after a breath. Pivoting our toes and our hearts to face the front of our mat, coming into our low lunge. Soften your back right knee down to the mat. Soften the top of the foot if you'd like. Pressing into your left foot, lift your upper body. You can keep the spine straight, lengthening up, or opt to take a back bend here. Full breath. Realign the spine, lower your hands down to the floor. Tuck the right toes onto the mat, lifting the knee. Slowly and gently step the right foot a little closer to the left foot. Lift your body, coming into a flat back, maybe taking the bend out of your front leg. Hands to the hips, to props or on the floor. Option to round over your front leg into pyramid. Full breath. Unfold the spine, finding a flat back if this applies to you. Left hand to the inside of your foot or leg. Right foot's going to pivot 90 degrees parallel to the back of your mat. Slowly start to open right arm up towards the sky. Triangle pose. Pressing into both of your feet, use core strength, come all the way back up. Pivoting your left foot parallel to the right, finding your star pose. Step your right foot next to the left, arms overhead. Inhale. Exhale, lower the hands beside you. Turning to face the front of the mat, take a full breath in mountain. Arms overhead as you inhale. Option to take a standing back bend as you exhale. Realign, straightening and lengthening. Dive forward, allowing the heart to lead. Come up part way, inhale. Exhaling, hands down to the floor. Walk, hop, or step your feet back to a plank. Pausing at the top of your plank. Lowering through chaturanga. Maybe you'd like to lower the knees for extra support. Opening the heart into a cobra, elbows and shoulders back. Pressing into the hands, lift your hips up and back, maybe moving through tabletop first to find your downward facing dog. Take a full breath here. Lowering the knees down to the mat. Then walking both your knees over to the same side of the mat, let your hips fall to the other with the legs swinging forward. Make sure there's space behind you on the mat as you come to seated. And in whatever way suits your body best, slowly lower onto the back of your body. Making sure the back of the head, shoulders, and sacrum are nice and comfortable on the mat. And then bend the knees, bringing the soles of the feet to the mat. Spread your arms wide into that T letter-like shape. Feet can be together, hip width apart or a little bit wider. Yogi's choice here. Start to fan the knees out side to side, bringing in a nice, gentle, dynamic twist along the spine. And if you'd like to bring these sensations right into the head and neck, go ahead and turn your gaze away from the knees. So knees fall right, we look left. Knees fall left, we'll look to the right. Continue this movement as fast or as slow as it feels right on your body. One more full breath. On your next breath, allow the knees to come back to center, head and neck back to center, and we'll bring the knees in towards the heart. Place your hands on your knees and then spread them apart towards your shoulders. Half happy baby, you can hang out here, low back pressed into the mat, or full happy baby, reach your arms and hands inside of your knees towards your ankles or your feet, lifting the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling as you spread them apart. Low back into the mat, you can be still or you can rock playfully side to side, offering that back body, that posterior chain, a gentle massage as the body compresses against the mat. If you're rocking side to side, use the end of your next exhale to settle you back to center. We'll bring the feet and the knees back together, hugging the knees in towards the heart. Give yourself a great big hug. Start to squeeze and compress, contract every muscle of the body, maybe lifting head and shoulders off the mat. Exhale, tight ball, great big hug, and release. Head, shoulders, and feet return to the mat, lengthening your legs long on the mat. Arms reaching long overhead. Give yourself that final full body stretch. Make any final movements with your hands, feet, head and neck that feel needed to settle into your final resting pose. In your own time, lower the hands, palms open to the sky beside you, spreading arms and legs as wide as you need, maybe offering support behind the knees or the nape of the neck. Once you find your final resting pose, release control over the breath, allowing the body to sink heavily into the support of your mat. And for just a few moments, allow yourself to enjoy this pause, this moment of integration and stillness, your Shavasana. Enjoy another moment or two. If your mind has slipped away or wandered away, gently come back to the observation over breath and body. When you feel present within your physical body, you're invited to reintroduce movements starting at the extremities, hands, feet, head and neck. Eventually, movement growing into the arms and legs. Choosing a side, gently roll onto the side of your body using your arm or a prop to support the head. Pause here, a breath or two to transition. Keeping your eyes closed or your gaze softened down towards the floor, use your top hand to gently support you back up to a seated posture, head and neck last thing to come up. Seated comfortably on the mat to seal our shared practice, maybe on a prop or directly on the floor. Place your hands where it's comfortable, maybe on the lap. Maybe hands over the heart or together in front of your heart. A final moment of gratitude. You can repeat gently in your own mind or perhaps out loud 3 times. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. As always, it's a privilege and pleasure to guide you through your practice. Until next time.